All right. Hello, everyone. Hey, Pierre. How's it going?
I'm doing great. What's up, Dave?
All right. Today, let's talk about history and versions within notebooks and why that's important and what are some of the tools that Notable provides internal to the platform to make it easy for you to go back and look at the historical updates you've made to a notebook. So first off, why is it so important? When you're working in any document, but notebooks in particular, it's really helpful to see history that's being automatically saved. So at any point, if you have made a mistake, you accidentally deleted something, you realize that this line of analysis or this line of work that you're going on, it's a dead end and you want to kind of revert back to have some kind of history and some history recorded and kept for that notebook. So we'll talk about what Notable does internally to the platform. And then in later videos, we can talk about some of the external integrations we have with integrations like GitHub and GitLab that allow you to sync the history to a remote Git repo. But for now, let's talk about the internal history that we keep automatically for a notebook. So here's a notebook that I've been working on, off and on for more than the last year, just kind of giving an introductory to Notable itself and some of the capabilities within the platform. And over on the right here, we have the version sidebar, where if you open it, you can see the kind of history of the notebook and the versions that were created. And we'll talk through today two types of versions that can be created. One is what you're seeing right now, which is the default of what you see when you open the sidebar, which are the named versions. The other are what's called the auto-save versions. And this little toggle on the right here allows you to kind of open up and view all of the auto-saved and named versions or only the named versions. So let's start with autosaves, talk about what they are. And so this is, as you are working on the notebook and as you're making updates to it every 30 seconds or so, we're going to automatically create a version for you. So that if you are working on it for a couple of hours here and don't take any breaks and realize again you made a mistake or you want to go back and kind of review the previous state of that notebook, you automatically have this history that has been kept along for you without any additional action needed from the user. So you can see here the dates of the autosave. Today is April 11th. Here's some work I was doing on it today. Here's some work I was doing on it last week. And here's work that I was doing on it months ago, right? And automatically that history was saved and preserved. At any point, I can click and view one of these versions and see the notebook at that exact time, including what the content was of the notebook and what the output was for any of executed code cells. And so one thing, if you were paying close attention, you might notice here is that our logo has changed. And so this is one for viewing this version of the notebook back on January 29th, where I was using that old logo. And if you watch me go back here to the live version, you'll see that I'm using the new logo in it. So it's one kind of thing that was changed in the notebook.
That's
But
great.
good.
So, what if we are collaborating on the book and we all make multiple changes? Like, is it smart enough for track all those changes? We're not gonna conflict.
Yeah, I mean, so like we, as we are collaborating on the notebook, it's going to be automatically saving those versions for us every 30 seconds, regardless of if it was you or I or some combination of the two of us making the edits. So we'll see the history in there. But one of the challenges that we'll have just by these autosave versions is that all it's telling us is that, hey, we made a saved version of this at this time, without any additional context to what those changes were. And so that's where making a named version is really helpful when you've reached a logical stopping point or kind of a logical kind of milestone of additions you're making to the notebook, where you can go in there and say, all right, now I want to save this version and say, now I've updated it with this particular text visualization back in December, or I've added some markdown stuff here. I've made a published version, or as you can see today, I updated it with a new logo because I forgot about this particular notebook and needing to update the logo. And so to make those name versions, you can just click the little plus option here and say, updated during demo. And I can make that name version. I put a description in there if I wanted to provide more details, but usually the name is just helpful enough to remind yourself what you're doing. Or I could have converted any one of these automatic autosaves. You go back to April 6th. If I was viewing this one and realized that like this was the the time that I added this particular pie chart in here, at any point I can click there and I can say, all right, I want to name this one as added pie chart, for example.
And I see that you have a copy and edit button. What does it do? Does it create a duplicate notebook?
Yeah. So when you're viewing a notebook here, you get two options. You can see this was the version that I'm viewing, which originally was this autosave version. I can copy and edit, which is like a fork action. So it's going to ask me, all right, do you want to save this notebook as a new notebook? Where do you want to save it? And it's going to make a copy of this exact version of the notebook. Or I can restore it, right? So again, I talked about the value of having these notebooks having the history of the notebook, so that if you ever realize that, all right, I've taken a path of my exploration that was a dead end, I want to kind of revert back to where it was last week or 2 weeks ago before we started collaborating on it. I can always just hit restore here, and actually will then bring this version of the notebook to be the current live version of the notebook for me to kind of continue forward with.
Okay. And can I share that name version with someone if I just want them to see like a specific snapshot in time?
Absolutely. So you can get here, you can copy the share link from here to send them that specific version, or when you do view the versions, if you're paying close attention to the URL here, you can see that we put the version of the notebook in the URL as well. So you can copy and paste that URL and send it to someone, or just a shortcut of just clicking on the ... over here. So you can see here, click the share link. And get the particular copy of it. And so this for collaborating is also really helpful. So imagine you and I, Pierre, are kind of working on the same notebook. We are continuously making updates on it. But again, we've reached a point here where we want to send it out for review. We want to send it out for other people to kind of take a look at. We can copy and send them this particular link to this version of the notebook, this particular snapshot of the notebook, while you and I continue our live analysis and our live exploration on the live version of the notebook.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dave. And I see you have published and schedule. Are we gonna look at that today or not?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll do some follow-up videos, talk about some of the other functionality you can do, but kind of, as I mentioned there, a little bit hinted at, it's really powerful, again, with the versions to take a snapshot of that notebook and then use that in other contexts, like, again, sharing in the publishing context, where I may want to, now say I want to publish this notebook, this particular version of the notebook, allowing myself to continue to live edit, continue to do that live exploration, but the consumers of that published notebook are only viewing that kind of static snapshot of the notebook that I created there. Same with scheduling, right? Maybe I want to schedule this notebook now to run every single night. And this particular version of it is going to be the one that's executed every night. But I can still tinker with, I can still do my live exploration on the notebook without worrying about potentially breaking that scheduled job that's running. So we'll have follow-up videos that kind of go in more detail on both of those capabilities.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.